Welcome to MMO Grinder Backtrack, where I take a look at games I've reviewed previously to check out what's new. Today in April of 2016, I'll be revisiting Luna Online, for real this time, now published under Suba Games and known under the moniker Luna Online Reborn. Or Blue Land Online, if the title screen and desktop icon is to be believed. Not sure what's up with that. That April Fool's video aside, and if you'd like to know more thoughts on that, as well as some other April Fool's jokes that I enjoyed this year, check out the posting of that video on my site. However, the joke was not that Luna Online was back. It is here and it is real, and as mentioned in the joke video, it was kickstarted back into existence. So let's get into playing a bit of the closed beta and see what Suba has done to the title. As also mentioned in the joke video, Suba did promise that they were keeping things that people liked about Luna Plus, but trying to make it feel more like the classic Luna. And if that's the case, they did not pull it off. Again, I'm not sure why they went with the Plus soundtrack, and I'm honestly curious if there's a legit reason that they didn't use the original, or possibly couldn't. Like, if anyone from Suba is listening to this, I wouldn't be against an explanation via comment or email as to why you're using that soundtrack. Hell, I still have the tracks from the original on my PC, hence the reason I'm using it now, but something tells me this has more to do with legality, or maybe just Iasoft's direction than anything. Considering, though, that Alker Harbor is completely silent right now, I'm pretty sure they're still in the midst of adding music and other stuff in, so maybe this is something Suba can revert. Here's the hoping. Horrible Plus soundtrack aside, the Plus gameplay still seems very much intact here as well. The only Plus features that seem to have been removed are the portraits of the weird animal hybrid characters that ran the farms, as they had a completely different aesthetic from the rest of the game. They're still in the game, but at least their artwork doesn't seem to be in it. The key here, though, is that original Luna served well as a beginner's MMO as well as a grinder because the monsters were very easy to deal with. You could dispatch them with little issue, and only until you took them on in large amounts or faced off against bosses did you even need to think about resting or using health potions. Here, just like in Plus, even common enemies do way too much damage, and they take far longer to defeat than you'd expect, especially at levels as late as 10, forcing you to painstakingly stop and rest after every few fights, and dragging out the pace of combat and grinding too far longer. The only way to alleviate this is to spam potions, which, while thankfully are on a very low cooldown, offer their own issues in having to drop coin and keeping a decent stack around, or directly affecting this game's PvP aspect, with players freebasing potions in order to heal through duels, drag the timer out, and claim victory when it ends in a draw. Teaming up with other players might come across as a solution, but other players seem really adamant about keeping to themselves sometimes, often accusing other players of just trying to steal their kills rather than ask them to group up. This also comes from the fact that Luna uses a painfully archaic last hit system to determine kills, meaning after downing an entire 6-pack of potions to tank through a boss's health the entire fight, someone can come along and just smack it to finish it off and make your previous efforts all for naught. Oftentimes my attempts to assist people with bosses and mobs that were attacking them were met with scorn, as I wasn't exactly aware of how the game worked until I'd accidentally stolen a few kills from players. I never thought I'd miss the tagging system. Luna is pretty much a ganker's paradise right now, if you let it be. Another addition from Plus, when you create a new character, you'll be asked to choose between two factions, red and blue, with no story reason as to why they exist, meaning players are killing each other in this game for the mere fact that they are a different color. I'm pretty sure that's how gang warfare and racism works. Up until recently, the game listed 3 channels at login, Channel 1, Red, and Blue. Since most people would choose Channel 1 without giving it much thought, you'd likely then get ganked the minute you walked into the ruins of Draconian by bored high-level players that are camping the entrance. They've recently changed the channel name to PK1 to make it more obvious, but to make sure this doesn't happen, choose the channel that corresponds with your color faction from the login screen. But if it's too late for you and you forgot, you can just as easily switch to your faction's channel from an option on the minimap. One thing I've noticed is that this game seems far more streamlined now, with very few quests keeping you repeatedly traveling around the same area for long. The fact is, this is still very much a Korean grinder, with quests asking for 50 to 60 plus targets at later levels, and with each battle being a stop and rest slog, you'll be spending just as long or longer in later areas just trying to level up to the next one. I will say that much unlike both the first publications of both the original and Plus versions of Luna, the game is pretty well on point in its translation. It's not perfect yet, as it's still in closed beta. There's some tooltips and skills that are missing information, some windows don't pop up properly, UI announcements are in baffling English, and certain parts of the text are remaining untranslated from Korean. But hell, the original publishers of Luna Plus didn't even translate the map, and you won't be having any difficulties in the Disney movie when questing in this version. Suba has done a pretty fantastic job of making quest dialogue coherent and to the point, without relying on the Asian MMO staple of filling it all with stupid memes, which is absolutely commendable. I have to say though, this is still very much everything I didn't like about Luna Plus. And if you happen to be playing on the Celestia Luna private server, there likely won't be much reason for you to transfer over to Luna Reborn until they start providing some brand new content to the game. I'll be sure to check back with this game and others in more episodes of MMO Grinder Backtrack. Oh yeah, the characters still look like they were made for an ecchi manga, and the Plus soundtrack is generic, repetitive ear poison that really needs to be reverted back to the original. Some things never change.